in this third section, we've seen how the approach to the human right to water and sanitation by the private sector has been sometimes contradictory, but definitely evolving. Initially, particularly during the 1990s and also the last decade, private corporations, private water operators were lobbying against the explicit recognition of this right, particularly in the final declarations of international fora such as the World Water Forum. Later, and in particular after the official recognition by the UN of the human right to water and sanitation in 2010, private companies and water operators have started to officially incorporate the reference to this right within their official documents and strategies on corporate social responsibility and public-private partnerships. What does this practically mean? Sometimes it seems that private operators are simply paying lip service to the human right to water and sanitation. They acknowledge it, but then immediately pass on discussing other issues. Could be water security, water scarcity, and this was the case, for instance, of the second video with the interview of the CEO of Nestlé. However, I think that here it's most interesting to look at how the human right to water and sanitation has been incorporated or addressed from what I would define as a managerial approach or perspective. So here again, the main problem linked to access to water and sanitation is considered water scarcity. This is the main obstacles also to the fulfillment and the enjoyment of the human right to water and sanitation, and the directly linked to the idea of scarcity, there is the idea that we should acknowledge, should recognize the real economic values of water in order to promote a more efficient water management, in order to attract investments, in order not to waste such a precious resource. And in order to do so, the best model identified to attain this goal, the solution, is considered the public-private partnership. In this respect, the main duty bearer when it comes to the right to water and sanitation is still considered the state, public authorities. Also, if you look at the official documents by Aquafed on the human right to water, they clearly mention the state as the main duty holder. What does it mean? It means the public authorities have to ensure a legal framework and adequate investments to fulfill the human right to water and sanitation. At the same time, and here it comes the public-private partnerships, private operators, private companies are identified as the most efficient, perhaps, provider of water services. So, public-private partnership as the main solution, and consequently, here again we are in the technical and managerial sphere, and we are talking about efficiency to promote the human right to water and sanitation, and as a consequence the right holders are no longer identified or are not primarily identified as citizens, but rather as customers who should get the service delivered. So here again we are rather thinking of a rather passive recipient of technical and managerial solution, and it was clearly, I think it was well exemplified by the video describing the corporate social responsibility in project in Colombia, where you had family, individuals receiving technical and managerial solutions to improve their access to water and sanitation through the improvement, the betterment of a service. In this managerial approach, and in most of the documents on corporate social responsibility when it comes to water, the equity issues are not explicitly addressed, and you have seen again in the final video that the approach to those issues remain mainly philanthropic. What does it mean? That the problems are addressed, problems are solved, without really interrogating the political causes and the inequalities that lies at their origins. We've seen this in the final video. The relation was between the service provider offering new solutions, technical and managerial solutions, and the beneficiary. In this case was a nice girl who was acting and thinking on individual basis about a future. So there was no collective, but just an individual, a customer as right holder. So this was the third section, describing a little bit the approach of private companies to the human right to water and sanitation, and how this has been incorporated in strategies such as the CEO water mandate and this idea of water stewardship that should lead corporate social responsibility when it comes to water. And I think now we can move to the conclusion of of this submodule, when we will try to compare and look together at the three different perspectives and approaches that we have discussing so far.